Before the break, we were talking about how the governor's really been switching things up. Do you have a concern that things are being switched up with the gas line as well?
Yeah, I think this is one of the areas that I have my greatest concern. We had worked for many years to finally land on a process that was going forward and truly had a very realistic expectation of getting us a state gas line started, a North Slope natural gas line. With the change of administrations, of course, the governor came in committed to changing completely how we approach that. And what I'm really afraid of, what I'm watching happen, is that we have lost the momentum we once had. We've lost the alignment that we had with our producer players. And more of greater concern to me is we've lost, I believe, the real commitment to do the best gas line possible for the state. I think our last effort had landed on an approach that through it was called Senate Bill 138, which was really the bill that laid out the roadmap for getting a gas line going. That bill was all about minimizing the state's risk in this multi-billion dollar, $50, $60 billion investment, but minimizing the state's risks and maximizing the state's financial returns at the end of the day for the development of gas from the North Slope.
Which is really what you want, is the biggest bang for the buck.
That's the way I would view it. And I truly believe that Governor Walker, and this is one place I just disagree vehemently with him, I really believe he wants to get a gas line so badly that he is willing to settle for less for the state and basically assume a much greater risk. He wants the state to assume ownership far in excess of our share of the gas. He wants us to assume all the financing risk. He wants the state of Alaska to go align itself with the buyers of gas in Asia and come back and build a pipeline and then force the producers to put gas into it. I think there's a better approach where we align ourselves with the producers who want to sell our gas for the most, rather than align ourselves with the people who want to buy our gas for the least.
It's very much a different strategy than what's currently being used. You guys are planning a special session in October. I understand that you're going to get documents that might be used in that special session 90 days before it starts. How is that going?
No, that's the original plan that came out of the Senate 138
right.
2 years ago. I think we've lost a lot of the momentum towards that special session, and the purpose of that session was to bring forward all of the major agreements that were going to be necessary between all the parties, the producers, the state, and
those benchmarks, so everything lines up and you can
exactly.
sit down and say, open the date, go forward.
And the people who are buying our gas, the legislature was going to have the opportunity to review, not edit, but to review and either approve or not approve the contracts. We're still kind of hoping that that might happen, but I would say, in my esteem, that this administration has fallen about 6 months behind the power curve of what was expected as far as the continued work and development of those agreements. And I think that this administration has introduced a lot of competing objectives. We heard that, remember last session, they wanted to introduce their own competing gas line. We would compete against ourselves and the producers. Well, this has just completely set back the process. It's allowed the alignment, the fragile alignment that had existed between the three producers, Conoco, BP, and
Parnell had
Exxon.
A really hard time brokering that in the first place.
Yes, and it was a very fragile alignment, but the state was always keeping it moving down the same road through the gates, moving the project forward. And the approach we're currently taking is introducing competing objectives and really allowing one partner or the other to play the state off the other two partners. This is not how you get a successful project.
Well, we got to take another break. Stick with us. We'll be right back in just a moment.